What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to a rather relieved Anfield Agenda player ratings video. After Liverpool have beaten Nottingham Forest by a goal to nil, Alexis McAllister thought he'd won it at the death, only for it to be ruled out for a contentious handball. Fear not, though, he wasn't to be denied. We went up the other end and scored to make sure that we could leave the City Ground with those 3 points. Even after an offside check, the line showed that he was just about onside Virgil at that back post. So, the Reds get the job done. I'm going to go through the referee, the players, the manager, and our substitutes, giving them all a score out of 10. If you'd like to play along, do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. If you want to submit your player ratings in the future to be included in the video, make sure that you join the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp, where you can also win a signed Jurgen Klopp frame shirt completely free. All you have to do is scan the QR code below or use the link in the description for further details. We'll be giving away one signed item every month in 2026 with thanks to our friends at thecollectorscorner.co.uk, and you can get yourself 20% off at thecollectorscorner.co.uk by using our code AnfieldAgenda1 at checkout. In January, we gave away a signed Steven Gerrard shirt. This month, it is a signed Jurgen Klopp shirt. And if you want to know what's next month, well, make sure you're in the WhatsApp, right? Let's get stuck into it, ladies and gents. Going to start off with the referee. And don't shoot the messenger on this one. I actually think Anthony Taylor himself did okay. The only thing I really want to criticise him for is the backward, I think it was, challenge on McAllister that should have been at the very least a yellow, and somehow there was none. Now, the VAR stuff, I can't really put that on Anthony Taylor's shoulders because that's Paul Tierney. You could talk about them as a refereeing collective, but at the moment we're just talking about Anthony Taylor. So I actually don't think he did too much wrong today. He was letting a lot go for both sides, trying to let the game flow, and outside of that one decision for the challenge on Maka, I don't really have too many complaints about Anthony Taylor's performance. So for me, I'm going to give the referee a score of 6. You guys have gone way lower, but again, maybe it's the frustration at VAR, in which I understand. But for Taylor, I actually think he did all right, as I said. But we all agree to disagree on that one. So we'll move on to Alisson Becker. Yeah, did everything that was asked of him. I mean, inside the opening few minutes of the game, we could have very easily been 1-0 down when Hudson-Odoi was clean through. Alisson comes out, as he's always done, made a big save. Could be a bit better with his distribution, but all in all, it's a clean sheet and another good defensive performance. So for Ali, I'm giving him a score today of 6, with the viewers going for a score of 6.7 for Alisson Becker. Moving into the left-back position now, Milos Kerkez. I thought that was actually a good performance. There wasn't enough competitive energy out there, not enough duels won for the Reds, particularly in the first half, but I wouldn't include Milos Kerkez in that. I think he got stuck in right from the off. So for me today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give Milos a score of 6.5, which coincidentally is the exact same as the average Anfield Agenda viewer score, as you can see in the top right-hand corner. That is where the average viewer score is. The large square in the centre is my score. So 6.5 from all of us there, from Mr. Milos Kerkez. Moving into the centre of defence, again, no complaints today from Virgil van Dijk or Ibrahima Konate. I thought they both dealt with everything that was put into the penalty area with ease. Dominant aerially, as you would expect, but I'm going to shade the score a little bit higher for Konate today than Virgil. That being said, though, for the big man, for our captain, giving him a score today of 7, and it's a 6.7 for the Anfield Agenda viewers. Ibrahima Konate, like I said, another good performance from him, and since the tragic passing of his father, he really has been back to himself. Lots of whispers that maybe we could be about to hear a new deal soon, and fingers crossed that's the case. But for now, again, an accomplished performance from the big man, and I'm going to give him a score today of 7.5, just a little bit higher than Virgil, because I liked some of the range of passing that Konate showed today. There was one he slipped through the channel on the right-hand side that really caught my eye. So 7.5 from me for Ibu, and it's a 6.8 from the viewers. Now, on the other side, Dominik Szoboszlai. I don't understand why Gomez wasn't put into the right-back position when Wirtz was injured. That felt like a natural way for Arne to then put him in. But he decided to keep him at right-back for a little bit. Jones then moved into the right-back position, and we've seen Dominik Szoboszlai start to get into those attacking positions, and that's where I felt his influence on the game grew. Decent enough performance from Dom. Was disappointed he didn't have a crack with the free kick in the first half that Mo decided to dink to the back post, but all in all, Another decent performance from Dom, so I'm going to give him a 6.5. And the viewers have gone a little bit higher there with an average score for Dominic Szoboszlai of 6.8. Let me know in the comments, though, what you thought about Dominic's performance today. Moving on now to Ryan Gravenberch. I'm not going to lie, I haven't been impressed with him recently. And again, we look too easy to play through in the middle today. He just doesn't provide that defensive shield and cover that we need, nor does he break up enough play in midfield. We know he's good in transition. We know he can carry the ball through the lines, but I thought he was fairly anonymous in there today. So I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to give him a score of 5.5. And the viewers, well, they feel even lower than me. They've gone for a score there for Mr. Ryan Gravenberch of 5.1. Moving on now to the goal scorer, Alexis McAllister, and he was not to be denied. I love that he said, I love scoring goals after the game. Well, we love you scoring them as well, Macca. Look, I don't think overall it was the best performance from Macca, but I do love the determination not to be denied. Had a goal ruled out harshly, then didn't let it get him down, kept going, kept plugging away, kept getting into the right positions, and rightly found himself on the score sheet. So, going to give Macca a score of 7 because he gets an extra half point for being on the score sheet, and it's a 6.7 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Moving up now to Curtis Jones. It wasn't a good performance from Curtis, not at all. Look, I know he's out of position. That's not his position, but we've seen him score against Brighton from the right-back position. Today, I really don't think he offered too much at all. No surprise whatsoever to see Arna make changes on both flanks as the game went on, because I really do think the wide areas were offering us very little today. So for Curtis Jones, I'm going to give him a score today of 5, which is exactly the same as the audience score there, of a perfect 5 for Curtis Jones. Let us know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Now, we move on to Mr. Cody Gakpo. And let me just say this really crystal clear. Both of those wingers deserve to be substituted today. The only real gripe I have is that it took the manager as long as it did to make those changes. Cody Gakpo needs to pull his socks up. He hasn't been good enough for the majority of this season. And today, I can't remember a single incident where he went wide around the outside of his man. It was just predictable inside, just no cutting edge whatsoever. Wasn't happy with the performance, wasn't happy one bit with it, and I think he's very deserving of a score of 4.5. Apparently, that's too high for some of the viewers who think a score of 3.8 for Cody Gakpo. But look, if Bayern Munich put down £65 million in the summer, let me know what you think. Would you sell Cody to Bayern for £65 million, allowing us maybe to go out there and buy Yandy on Monday? Let me know your thoughts on it. But today, again, I don't think you can have any complaints about being substituted. Mohamed Salah, I'm very annoyed. I'm really annoyed by it because that smirk, you might say it was something and nothing, but I disagree. That smirk is something that makes me feel he thinks he's above being dropped, above being taken off, above reproach. He's a senior pro at the club. He should be setting the example. And smirking as you're coming off the pitch and when you're sitting on the bench is not a good look. And for anybody that thinks that the issues between himself and Arna have been really put to bed, I don't think they have one bit. But Mohamed Salah should have one person to blame today and one person alone, himself, because that was not a good enough performance. As Jamie Carragher said, RIO Ngamoa did more in the 15 minutes he was on the pitch than Gakpo and Salah did for the entirety of their time on it. And I don't disagree one bit. So today, for Mo, he gets a score of 5 from me, because I don't think he was quite as bad as Cody Gakpo, although still pretty much non-existent today for Mo. And it's a 3.9 from the Anfield Agenda viewers. But do let me know your thoughts on the smirking situation, because I don't like his attitude when he gets substituted at times. He did it under Jurgen Klopp. He's done it multiple times under Arna. And I don't like the example it sets to the younger players as well. Own your poor performances. Be better. Work harder. It's on you, mate. It's on you, not the manager this time. You were deservedly taken off. Next up is Hugo Ekitike. One of the rare occasions this season where we really haven't been able to get Hugo involved in the game enough. Somebody mentioned something about him needing to brush up on his headers, which I think is a fair enough little critique. He's had 3 or 4 of them in recent weeks that I'm sure he feels he would have and should have done better with. All in all though, look, you're never going to get a lack of effort and 5 from him. Just couldn't really get him involved in the game today as much as we wanted. Some of his touches were a little bit heavy as well. He will have better days. He's allowed an off day. He's had very few of them this season. So for Hugo Ekitike, I'm giving a score of 5.5. And the audience have gone a little bit lower there with a score for Hugo of 5.2. Now, We move on to your Anfield Agenda man of the match, and I forgot to mention that just before we finished the match reaction, but RIO did win your vote very slimly, 1% in it. He beat out Alexis McAllister. I thought RIO was brilliant when he came on. I loved them getting to the byline on the right-hand side and standing up a ball to the back post. You don't always have to have inverted wingers, and this kid surely showed now that he's ready. As Cara and many others said, you guys have said it, he made a big difference when he came into that game. And it'll be interesting to see if Arne feels he's ready for the start against West Ham next week. I certainly do. So for RIO today, I'm giving him a score of 7.5 because without his little performance, his little cameo, I don't think we win that game. So it's a 7.5 from me for RIO, and it's a 7.2 for the Anfield Agenda viewers. And by the way, I'm going to give you a little insight. I'm going to give you a little bit of breaking news. RIO will be one of the first shirts you see in the Anfield Agenda new studio, as he will be on the feature wall alongside... Well, I'm not going to tell you that just yet. But RIO's there. Signed RIO shirt ready to go up. And hopefully many more years to enjoy. Right. Federico Chiesa, another one that made a bit of an impact when he came on. I don't think he had as much of an impact as RIO. But again, probably 5-10 minutes later than we would have liked to see both of them brought on. But it was good to see Arno at least acknowledging and looking to the bench to bring them on, because even he couldn't deny the poor performances in the wide areas today. So for Chiesa, I'm going to give Fede a score of 6, and the audience have gone with an average there of 5.7 for Mr. Chiesa. Now, Joe Gomez, and actually fair play, Arne brought up something in his post-match comments that I never really thought of until Joe came on and Arne pointed it out, which was Joe gave us the long throw-ins. Joe gave us another dimension to our set pieces when he came on. Surprised he didn't start him, especially after saying midweek that he was fit and available to start. But again, a difference when he came on. So for Joe, going to give a score today of 6.5, and the audience a little bit lower with a score for Joe of 6.2. Andy Robertson, look, understandable bringing Milos Kerkez off to try and change it up a little bit. I do think Kerkez has a good game, as I said. So for me, I think this was just a change to maybe just give us another dimension rather than because he wasn't happy with Kerkez's performance. But Robbo came in, professional performance as always. Hopefully we see many more of them. But I do wonder what happens with his contract in the summer as it is up. So for this one, I'm giving him a score of 6, and the audience has gone for a 5.8 for Andy Robertson. And finally, Arne Slot. And this is where I'm going to be a bit critical again. I understand that people will say the players weren't passing the ball, the players were off, and that is fair enough. But the game plan looked off as well. And I truly don't know what we went to the City Ground to try and do today. We had 8 days to prepare for the game, and we started it like we were the ones playing away in Europe in midweek and not Nottingham Forest. It wasn't good enough. And we found a way to get the win at the end, and I'm very grateful for that. And I do think we will finish in the top 5. But my views on the manager haven't changed one bit. I still don't think he's the man to take us forward. But he did make some tough calls today, and I will give him credit for that. All in all, though, I'm going to give Arne a score today of 5.5, and the audience have gone even lower with a score for the coach of 4.2. Feel free to let us know in the comments, though, what you think should and will happen in the summer with Arne Slot. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for now for the Anfield Agenda player ratings. I'll be back here tonight at 8:30 for the late night agenda, where we'll talk about the North London derby, have a look ahead to United's game against Everton tomorrow, and of course, talk about the Reds' remainder of the season. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. Do drop a like and hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you back here soon. Much love. Bye-bye.